Hey everybody, and welcome to another Flippin Pages. Flippin Pages is where we flip through magazines, books, and other types of printed matter. Now in this episode, we're going to have a look at Wargames Illustrated, issue 463. This is the July 2026 issue. In this issue, you will get a free frame from Warlord Games. This frame is for their Konflikt 47 game. These are the Totenkorps, the undead zombies cometh. As with all free frames, I will paint them and do a showcase as well in another video. If you would like to see all the other free frames from Wargames Illustrated that I've painted, the link to that playlist will be in the description. Now, the cover art for this issue is done by Marco Caparoni for the Army Painter. First off, we got the table of contents and a quick call to action by the team at Wargames Illustrated, reminding you on the different ways to get your copy of Wargames Illustrated. Very, very good idea. Which leads us into the subscriptions. Now, I want to note that Wargames Illustrated does not pay me anything to do this review. Neither do I get any privileges from doing flip-throughs like these. This is strictly out of my own pocket. Now, if you find this useful and want to support my efforts, you are welcome to buy me a coffee. The link for that is in the description. And if you get the subscription, you can go for the WI Prime, which is basically the cover without all the noise around it. So yeah, consider that. We start out with observation posts. This is a new book from Osprey Games, Daimyo. Just from this article, the game feels like as a daimyo, your skills of army control will be put to the test with the army divided into sones that will not always do what you want them to do. Right? I think that's a really, really nice idea. Also, I like this bit over here under the microscope. There are the different clans, the 13 clans have different army identities, which makes each clan unique. Moving along, we have a new book from Warlord Games, and this is Bold Actions Armies of the British Commonwealth. Now, this book covers forces from Australia, Canada, East Africa Command, India, New Zealand, and South Africa. So you can expect a lot of rebalancing and new rules in this one. I like, for example, a bit over here on how the Gurkhas have been adjusted for this edition. Next up is an advert from Warlord Games, and this is the two new starter sets that are coming out. This is Cross of Iron, which is basically the German Grenadier starter set, and then the Reichs Praetorian, the Waffen SS starter set. And then we have Release Radar. Now, over here, we can see that we have the new release from War Games Atlantic, and this is Rifleman Harris. And this is the third miniature from their Sharps Rifleman Legend series. I'm looking forward to this. And then we have what I just found out is a new miniature company called Rebellion Miniatures. And these are 28mm American Civil War figures, right? Moving along, we have another release from Wargames Atlantic, and this is their Baron's War Foot Knight Command release. And then over here we have Scots from Khurasan Miniatures, which actually look quite nice. Nicely labeled, nice pictures. I think when doing the layout for the magazine, this is definitely a very, very attractive idea. And then we have Footsore Beastmen. And if you like the 7 Years War, we have Claymore Castings, 28mm white metal miniatures. Again, I wish they had labeled these so we know what they are, but nevertheless, nice pictures for the magazine. Over here, we see Hare 46 and the 28mm 7.5 cm infantry gun, which is looks pretty good. And under miscellaneous, we have a new book from Caliver Books, and this is Tabletop Teasers The Return, Volume 2, and this is basically old articles that have been made new. I mean, that's what I'm getting from just the description, right? Now, this was interesting. This is a new company, new to the author and now new to me. They're called Spala Models, and they have kits which are in 1/72 scale, right? The American M77A2 howitzer, the British FV103 Spartan, and they're from Ukraine. Very interesting. I would definitely give this company a look. Moving along, we have Micro Art Studios, and they have bolt action license terrain, which I thought was also interesting. I haven't heard any news from Micro Arts in a while, and it's nice to see them back in the pages. Moving along, we have First Core, one of the ones I'm very interested to look at, and this is pigs. If you like flaming pigs, head on to First Core. They just released some flaming figs for you to check out, and then North Star Figures have released their musketeers, right? And these are one for their game 1672. We have an advert for offensive miniatures, and these are the para, and over here is some 88 Luftwaffe gun crew. The offensive miniatures look really kind of nice, and these are new releases, so yeah, I keep going back to the offensive miniatures page, but maybe soonish I'll probably get some and perhaps do a review. Quickfire is basically articles from gaming clubs, readers, and stuff like that. And this one is a moot, right? It's called the Midgard Moot, and it's basically Midgard heroic battles, right? And as you can see, a respectable number of players giving the game a swing, and some awards as well. Very, very nice. And then we have an advert from North Star Miniatures, Cappies and Bayonets, and then Flames of War have released their Liberation of Italy. Cover mount, Konflikt 47 Totenkorps. This is the frame that you get with the magazine. I like the fact that on the frame you have the Totenkorps in Axis uniform and Totenkorps in US uniform. So you can actually have US zombies and Axis zombies, which I thought was a very, very nice idea. It's also a breakdown of the frame, what each bit is, and the frames are numbered, which are very cool. It makes it very easy for you as a modeler. Of course, it's also great that they have a assembly suggestion on how you want to assemble them, and in case you're interested what the different heads look like, in case the glare perhaps from the frame is causing you not to see what you get, right? Next up is the cultural experience. This is tours, and I think for this month is the Ultimate Zulu tour. Moving along, reimagining the historical gladiator game, right? And this is basically an interview with the author Harry Sidebottom, right? And it's kind of cool because his book Those Who Are About to Die inspired this game, right? It's kind of great because the game designer is speaking to the author of the book. Very nice. It was a very, very good read, and for anybody who's interested in game design anyway, this is definitely a very, very good article. I'm not about to pronounce that, but this is basically skirmish wargaming in the 100 Years' War. It says here Écorchure. This is a new rule book, I think, rule set for from Gripping Beast. To fight small actions between retinues, 100 Years' War. All right, and then the frame, that's the full game is over here. Blades on the Sands, Welcome to the Arena, and those are all the different miniatures that you get from them. Next up is the Army Painter historical sets, which actually are quite interesting because it's nice that they've moved into historical colors as well, right? And here's a guide for all the different, infantry that you can paint and the different color suggestions and stuff like that, the recipes, which I think is a very good article. If you are new and you want to get the paint set that covers everything you need for your army, you can just get the Army Painter historical sets and just get on with it. And here's some guides to do it. Next up, an ad for Rubicon miniatures. They're still covering Shermans in this one, and then an advert for the Army Painter historical paint sets with authentic colors, as they say. Okay, so bolt actions, plastic gun revolution. Here at the store we've brought in a whole lot of bolt action, Warlord game bolt action guns in metal, and they are really heavy when they're shipping. So it's very nice that they have these now in plastic form. I think it's a great move forward, and you can see from all the designs they look really, really cool. And this is an interview with Gabrio Tolentino, the man in charge of Warlord Games' plastics. All right, interesting. I'll probably head down to this interview in a bit after this video. Okay, then we have Daimyo, the game from Osprey Games, which we talked about earlier. And then Jesus, we have the painting competition winners and different categories. I think issues like this with articles like this is one of those things you keep, right? Because you can always get reference and ideas from the different paint jobs. And these painting competition winners from Salute 53, from historical single miniature to historical unit, to historical vehicles, to sci-fi single miniature, sci-fi unit. I just want to ask though, how come most of the time when there's a category for sci-fi miniatures, it's always a particular company's grimdark? I'm sure there are other science fiction miniatures that can be in these competitions like that, perhaps. I just wonder why it's just over, it's just a lot of a particular company, right? And then like all the sci-fi seems to be from a particular company. And then we have large scale and bus. To a certain degree, same goes for fantasy. They all seem to be from a certain company as well, right? Which I thought, I'm not so sure. I would like to see more different miniatures, but that's just me, right? So we got fantasy single miniature, fantasy vehicle, and we have the Salute 52 figure, which is kind of cool. The figure from that they gave away from the last Salute. They have a category for that. I think that's kind of cool, kind of fantastic. All these really, really nice bits of art, miscellaneous as well. Then we have an ad from Wayland Games. Okay, now these are tables from the Partizan 2026. This is a table from the Shrewsbury Wargames Society, the Sengoku Clash, which won Best a Demonstration Game, right? Very, very cool. And as you can see, if you're getting this just to like ogle at the different tables, right? Why not? Definitely, why not? And also, apparently, it's a U-shaped table, which is very interesting. And then we have the Boondock Saints relief at Lucknow. Nice pictures, nice still pictures, and a little bit on the table, which I thought is a really, really good idea, right? And then we have Mike Peters and the Ruckus-Tears. Here's the Ruckus, the Queen's Envoy, which won Best Participation Game. Also very nice. Again, if you're just getting this for like some eye candy, right? Because I honestly, if it's not on magazine form, you won't be able to like really, really like stare at them without the backlight burning your eyes out. And then we have this very interesting table, Veterans Voices Operation Nimrod. Look at that. I think these are the different levels to the building, and this is best of show, and no wonder. Look at that. These are all the different tables, layers, right, and detail you have in it. Very, very nice. It says there more to come in the next issue of WI, so can look forward to the Operation Nimrod table. Actually, you know what? Articles like this is definitely the kind of articles I would look forward to in magazines like Wargames Illustrated. So I'm looking forward to this as well. And then we have an ad from Heinz Figures, and then an ad from North Star Figures, Art Master Studio. Now, this is an article from Army Painter, and this is their Soviet Union historical paint set, right? And these are all the color recipes that you can use if you're painting this particular army, the Soviet Union army. All right. Then we have First Score, another miniature company I like the look of. And then we have the Yorkshire Gamers, the Siege of Forley, 1499. Will you have a look at that table? Whenever I see articles like this, I'm very, very envious of not just the tables, but those who get to participate in it. The amount of miniatures on the table. This is not a weekend's job. This takes months and months to prepare And I'm really, really glad somebody was there to take pictures of it, right? So that you can actually like you can enjoy it, including things like this, the painting process and how they got the images on the table. Definitely a great club project if you're interested in doing one. Moving along, the cover mount again, the frame, and this is how to prepare the uniforms of the zombies, right? Now the zombies actually are actually broken into, you know, numbered, right? So there's zombie 1, zombie 2, and zombie 3. That's kind of interesting, but I'll cover that when I assemble the miniatures. But here in this magazine, you see how they get the figures out really, really quick, right? Using, you know, the slap shop washers and stuff like that. And then we have Skytrack miniatures, Arrowhead miniatures, Athena miniatures, Knuckle Duster, Midlam miniatures, all paying the bills. Tumbling Dice, an ad for BritCon 2026. Mardev miniatures, Historicon 2026, an ad for that. And then Hellion and Co. Now, in the next issue of Wargames Illustrated, you'll get a free Armored Clash Indian Raj battle group, which is very, very unique. I don't think I've ever received an Armored Clash plastic frame, so this will be something interesting for me to look forward to. And then we have something from Wargames Atlantic, Death Fields Arena. Now, if you do not know, you can get this rules for free on their website, or you can just scan this QR code for the rules. And then on the back, you have Victrix. That's a surprise. And Victrix is Irish. Takes over the back page of the magazine. So that's pretty much it. That is the flip through of Wargames Illustrated 463. If you like flip throughs like this, you know, watch the rest. Again, to support, you can actually buy me a coffee, or at the very least, like and subscribe, or even comment. I would totally appreciate that. Now, when you get this magazine, you'd get this frame as well. Now, if you're getting this second hand or, you know, in a bargain bin, I'm not so sure whether the frame is going to be there, but at least now you know what will be in it and what it looks like. So that's pretty much it. As always, don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.